welcome back. Today we're going to be moving on in the proportions unit, and we're going to be talking about using proportions with graphs. So let's go ahead and take a look at example A right now. So example A is right below us, and it says Melanie surveyed the 7th grade class about their favorite subjects in school and displayed her findings in the circle graph. If 73 students preferred math, how many total students did Melanie survey? So let's pull out the important information out of that problem first, and it is that there are 73 students who prefer math. So knowing that information can help us set up our proportion. So the one thing that we know for a fact is that there are 73 students that like math. Now, looking at our circle graph, we need to find out what percentage of students like math, and according to our circle graph, that is 5%. That is an unfortunate survey. They must have surveyed the wrong students. However, in this case, the survey indicates that only 5% of them like math. So since 73 students is equal to 5%, that's going to be one side of my proportion. So on one side of my proportion, at the very top, I have math students. And on the other bottom portion of my proportion, I have percentage of math. So now I need to figure out students total on the other side, because that's what the problem is asking us to find, and we're going to need percentage total on the other side of our proportion. So total percentage is easy. The total percent of any circle graph, or any time that we're talking about percentage, is going to be 100%. So when you're looking for the total percent of something, that's going to be 100%, and in this circle graph, that is the same situation. Now, I don't know how many total students we have, so that's going to be our x. And now that I've got it set up, notice I've got students across the top and percentages across the bottom. I have the students who have math on the left-hand side and the total number of students on the right-hand side. So I kept everything in the right place. Now that I've got that, I'm going to cross multiply just like I've done solving proportions before. 5 times x is 5x. 73 times 100 is 7,300. Now I've got myself a one-step equation. I know how to solve those. So I'm going to draw a wall down from my equal sign. I'm going to do the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. I'm going to divide both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, or 1x. And 7,300 divided by 5 is going to give me 1,460. Again, if you couldn't do that in your head, feel free to use your calculator. However, this is a word problem at this point, so we need a word answer. So we're going to be talking about not percentages. We're trying to figure out the total number of students. So this is going to be 1,460 students. And that is our final answer. Now let's go ahead and take a look at problem B. So here we are at problem B, and it says this histogram shows the number of students in first period classrooms when the bell rang this morning. What percentage of classrooms have between 21 and 25 students present? So they've given us a couple questions to help us set up our proportions. So let's start by answering those. So the first question says, what is the total number of classrooms? So in order to figure out what percentage of the classrooms had the 21 to 25 students, we're going to need to know how many classrooms there are total. So we need to take a look at our graph, and on the left-hand side, we can see that it talks about the number of classrooms. So that's how we're going to figure out how many classrooms are in each column. And then we can add those up to figure out the total number of classrooms. So in our first column, we have 6 classrooms because it goes up to 6. Here it's between 0 and 2, so that number is 1. In the middle there, we're going up to 10. Then we're going in between 6 and 8, that number is 7. And then we have 6 classrooms there on the end. So now that I have all of those classrooms, I can just add them up. So I'm going to add 6 plus 1 plus 10 plus 7 plus 6, and that'll give us the total number of classrooms. Again, if you can't do that information in your head, feel free to use your calculator. Always use your math tools whenever possible. When you add those up, you're going to end up with 30 total classrooms. So that's going to come in handy when we go ahead and put together our percentage, or put together our proportion. And how many classrooms have between 25 and 26 students, or 21 and 25 students? No worries, we just did that. This column is the only one with 21 to 25 students in it, and in that column there are 6. So we know that that answer is going to be 6 classrooms. So now that I have that information, let's go ahead and set up our proportion so that we know that we have 6 classrooms that have between 21 and 25 students. We know that the total number of classrooms is 30. So again, we have the number that we want on top, the total on the bottom. So now we need to go to the right-hand side of our proportion, and we're going to need the total of percentage of classrooms over here, and we want the percentage of 21 to 25 over here. So our total percentage is always going to be the same, and our total percentage is going to be 100. We don't know what percentage of classrooms have between 21 and 25. That's going to be our x. But now that we've set up our proportion, we can go ahead and solve that. So we're going to cross multiply just like we always do. 30 times x is 30x. 6 times 100 is 600. And now we've got a one-step equation that we know how to solve. We're going to draw our wall down from our equal sign, divide both sides by 30, since the inverse operation of multiplication is division. 30 divided by 30 is 1, or 1x. 600 divided by 30 is going to give us 20. And again, this is a word problem, so we need our word answer, and we're talking about percentage, so we're going to have 20%. You don't have to write the word out percent, you can just use the percent symbol, and that is our final answer to that problem. Now let's go ahead and take a look at example C. Here we are at example C, and it says Gloria surveyed the students at school to find out how many pets they have in their households. She compiled her results in this table. If Gloria surveyed 240 students, how many students had 3 pets? So let's start by pulling the important information out of the problem that we have. So we know that she surveyed 240 students total, so that's important information to have. And it's asking us how many students had 3 pets. So that's important information to have. So now that we have our important information, let's go ahead and plug into the proportion the things that we can. So we know she surveyed 240 students, so that's going to be at the bottom. Our 240 students is going to be our total. Now we know she was also looking for the number of people who had 3 pets, so that's going to be what we're going to have on top. So on the bottom we have the total number of people surveyed. On the top we have the people who like 3 pets. And we don't know how many people have 3 pets. That's what the problem was asking us, so we know that's going to be our x. On the other side of proportion, we're going to be finding our percentages, because we need to use that because our table is given to us in percentages. So our total percent is always going to be the same that it always is. Our total percent is always out of 100. So that is our percentage there. Then we need to figure out the number of students who had 3 pets. So looking at our table, we have the number of students that had 3 pets. It's going to be 22.5%. So let's go ahead and fill that in our top. So now that we've got our proportion all set, we can go ahead and start by cross multiplying to solve, just like we always do. X times 100 is going to give us 100x. 22.5 times 240. If you can't do that in your calculator or in your head, feel free to use your calculator. And when you do that, you should get 5,400. Now we've got a one-step equation that we can solve. Good news, we know how to solve one-step equations. So we're going to go ahead and draw our wall down from our equal side. From our equal sign, we're going to divide both sides by 100. Again, the inverse operation of multiplication is division, so we're going to divide both sides by 100. 100 divided by 100 is 1, or 1x. 5,400 divided by 100 is going to give us 54, but this is a word problem, so we need to figure out what our word answer is going to be. And since it was asking us for how many students, we know our answer is going to be 54 students. Now that we've figured that out, let's move on to our last problem, example D. So here we are at problem D, and it says the SGA is hosting an after-school ice cream party. Kate surveyed her class about their favorite ice cream flavors to decide what to buy. What percentage of class preferred chocolate ice cream? So we've got a couple problems down there at the bottom to help us figure out how to set up our proportion. So if the first one says, what is the total number of students surveyed? So again, we're going to have to do some addition to figure that out, but luckily for us, this table is set up where we can just add everything straight down from the bottom. So we're going to be adding our 17 plus 3 plus 12 plus 1 plus 7 to give us our total number of people. So 17 plus 3 is going to give us 20. 20 plus 12 is going to give us 32. 32 plus the 8 is going to give us 40, so we're going to end up with 40 students total. Then it says how many students prefer chocolate, so I have to go ahead and take a look, and it says chocolate that there are 17 students that prefer that, so 17 students prefer chocolate. So now knowing that information, let's go ahead and set up our proportion. So we know 17 students like chocolate, and we know that the total number of students is 40, what we just figured out. So we've got chocolate across the top, we've got total number of students across the bottom. So now we need to figure out our percentages. We don't know what percentage of students like chocolate. That is what the question is asking us. However, we do know the total percentage is always going to be 100. So now that we've got that information, we've got our proportion. So let's go ahead and cross multiply as we always do. So 40 times x is going to give us 40x. 17 times 100 is going to give us 1,700. Again, if you aren't able to do that in your head, feel free to use your calculator. Now we've got a one-step equation, so we're going to go ahead and draw our wall down from our equal side. We're going to divide both sides by 40 because, again, the inverse operation of multiplication is division. 40 divided by 40 is 1, or 1x, and then 1,700 divided by 40, again, use your calculator if you can't do it in your head, is 42.5. But again, this is a word problem, so we need our word answer, and since the problem is asking us what percentage of the class preferred chocolate, we know that our answer is going to be in percent. So again, you can write the percent symbol. You don't have to write the word percent out. That brings us to the end of this problem and brings us to the end of this video. So if you like this video, go ahead and throw us a thumbs up. If you love this video, go ahead and throw us a sub, and we will catch you in the next one.